let me know when I'm good to go.
C99 from
Yep.
me and
I'm
V and Dave. We're good to go, V.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to the Bronx Queens Bros podcast, better known as the BQB podcast. You already know I'm Big D. We got Big D. We also got Jack B. Big D, how you doing?
You know, V, I'm doing great, but I know who's doing even better than me, and it's the biggest Yankee fan I know, Jack Juan Soto, officially a Yankee. How you feeling today, Jack?
Dave, I'm super excited. Juan Soto is officially a Yankee, and hopefully will be a Yankee for a long time. We'll get into that. We'll get into more stuff. Shohei Ohtani taking one of the strangest contracts of all time. Can't wait to talk about that. And even more stuff. But first, a message from our sponsor, V. Take it away.
This episode is sponsored by one of the best kept secrets in northern New Jersey, Engineering and Design Concepts. Small company, doing big things out here. If you or anyone you know need assistance in that field.
First time in months.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
Oh
I
my
skipped a
God.
sentence and it just threw me off.
You looked a
It
little
just,
lost throughout. You didn't have the
That field
approach.
definitely was not right.
that
Yeah.
was bad. That was really
He
bad.
didn't know where to put his
Ah,
eyes. He didn't know. Yeah. Oh.
that hurt. That hurt my soul.
Should we just
Well,
start the whole thing over or just start here?
Yeah.
I say we 100% just keep this.
Oh,
And let's see how V brings us back together.
all right. Well, listen. If you need assistance, their website will be in the description below. Test equipment.
It sounded like if you need a citizen.
If you need a citizen. All right,
Public communications, they'll help you in every way. Yeah. Okay, so anyways, guys, real quick question for you guys here. Juan Soto's a Yankee. What's your confidence level on him signing with the Yankees? More confident than me reading the ad or less confident?
All right, V. Well, you didn't even let me gloat in my happiness that Juan Soto is a Yankee. Brian Cashman got the deal done. It is a sad day to give up Michael King. It is a sad day to give up Kyle Higashioka, the longest tenured Yankee on the team. But who the hell cares? Because we have Juan Soto. That's how I look at it. As far as your question, V, confidence level of re-signing him, I would say high. 1 to 10, I would put it at about a 7 right now, but an optimistic 7. The Yankees have got a lot of deals done with Scott Boras in the past. Mark Teixeira, Garrett Cole, A-Rod. Not sure if CeCe was his agent as well. But just, in general, there's been a lot of deals done with Scott Boras clients. So I think Cash and Boras have a good relationship. And I think once Soto learns the organization, learns that, we're a winning organization, hopefully we do some winning this season as opposed to last season, he'll be intrigued enough. And if Hal backs it up with a check, I think, there's no reason why we can't re-sign the guy.
I would agree, Jack. Yeah, I talked last episode about how I'm cool with giving up those people even for a rental because I think I put a lot of value in getting him into the locker room, showing him the clubhouse, the culture, what it means to be a Yankee. And I just feel like the Yankees specifically, which we'll get into a bit later, it's a one of a kind culture. And I don't know, just watching. Did you watch his Zoom? Yeah, I mean he's excited to be here. He talked about how putting on that hat just makes him feel, and to me that's what you want to hear, right? If you're a Yankee fan. So I think after that alone, my confidence went up till I would say 7 as well, Jack. I think if we have a good season and we do that whole winning thing that you're supposed to do, it's likely he's going to want to come back.
Yeah, he's going to stay in New York for sure. It's just going to come over to the Queens side. That's all I'm saying.
You actually believe that?
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%.
There's this thing, Dave, I've been hearing. It's called Mets Twitter-induced schizophrenia. It's a thing going around. I've heard all about it.
God.
And these Mets fans on Twitter, oh my goodness. You would think I don't even know. They think like Uncle Steve, who is yet to even sign or keep a free agent for more than 2 years, is going to back up the Brinks truck for Juan Soto and Yamamoto apparently, and Corbin Burns and Dylan Cease. Like, okay. Let's
Listen,
focus on making the wild card here.
I'm manifesting big things to come, and Yamamoto is going to be the first one. Then I don't know what else is going to happen. I don't know. But one thing I have a strong feeling about is Soto's going to free agency. They're not going to be able to extend him. If they do, then that's freaking great. But I really would be shocked if the Yankees did. If he goes to free agency, the way I view the Yankees now is Judge is their highest paid player. And you're going to have to pay Soto more than you pay Judge average annually. And Judge is your captain. Now, I don't know how that would make Judge feel. I wouldn't know how that, to not be, the highest paid player on your team and you're the captain. It sounds a little weird to me if you want to ask. I'm just saying. So I think he's coming over to New York.
V, that was a very weak attempt at a point there, I have to tell you. I don't think Aaron Judge cares very much about being the highest paid player on his team. I think so. Okay, that's cool. But I don't think many players in baseball cared about being the highest paid player on their team, let alone athletes. I mean, maybe NBA stars or like quarterbacks, but in the sport of baseball, I don't think that's the case. And just seeing Aaron Judge and kind of listening to his comments over the years, I doubt he would have any problem with being the second highest paid player. I mean, the guy's going to be making over $360 million. I think he just wants the team to win, and he wants to win a World Series. So I don't know about that, V, but
So then, can I pose this other question?
Sure.
Can the Yankees actually afford a $45 million a year player on their roster?
Absolutely, they can afford it. It comes down to how willing will they be to do that. They can. How can do it?
I don't think we could argue that that's probably what he's going to get a year, right?
What, 40 million?
Maybe a little more, 45-ish, in that range.
I guess it really depends on what the market has to say next year, but
like the way I look at it, like 10 for 450, so maybe 12 for like 520. Probably what he's going to get.
Well, one thing I will say, and I saw this floating around on Mets Twitter, was how somehow the Shohei Ohtani signing has something to do, like it will somehow dictate the market for Juan Soto. And I don't know how you can come to that conclusion because Juan Soto doesn't pitch. Shohei Ohtani is a one-in-a-generation player where he could do both. I don't know how one has anything to do with the other. Now, has the market increased since the last 2 years? Most definitely. Usually the markets do increase.
Yeah.
45 million. Yeah, I guess I could see it. And, I know we're going to get into a tiny little bit, but the Dodgers, what they did with this contract makes me more nervous than the Mets, to be honest, about getting Soto away from us. That's how I would look at it.
Soto has come out and said he loves the East Coast and that's where he wants to play. So I truly believe he's either going to be a Met or Yankee at the end of the day.
Listen, I think at the end of the day, these guys could care less where they play, unless you're from somewhere, or there's extreme circumstances. Obviously, I think they're just looking to get market value. I think that's what they're looking for at the end of the day. Now, if that's, a significant difference, like going to the Yankees, Mets, or the Dodgers, if the money's the same, he prefers the East Coast, I can see that. But if the Dodgers come in with the grand, some Godzilla offer, I don't think he's just sticking to the Yankees or Mets because he likes the East Coast. I don't think you hire Scott Boras as your agent to just stick to the East Coast and take a pay cut. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I don't know. That's just how I look at it.
Do you think we should be worried about Yamamoto going to the Dodgers now?
Yes.
Can I be honest? I'm not. So not that I'm not worried because I think they could throw him lot of money as well. I think if I was Yamamoto, if I'm coming here to win, okay, then you're probably going to the Dodgers. But I feel like Yamamoto wants to be the star of his team, or if not the star, not one of 5 stars on the team.
Right.
Because you're now playing. You're not even the biggest Japanese star on your team.
Right.
You're playing behind Ohtani. You're playing behind Mookie Betts. You're playing behind Freddie Freeman. So, what is he, the 4th star of the team? That's the one thing where the Dodgers kind of might lose him on that end.
Right.
But if he wants to come to team up with the best Japanese player ever and win, yeah, I can see him going to LA 100%.
Yeah. It seems go ahead, V.
Yeah, no, I just see him as wanting to be the star of his rotation, star of a team.
Yeah.
And
I mean, from everything I've read, it seems like he just wants to compete at the highest level. And whether that's with us, with you, or out in LA, I think those are going to end up being the 3. It just depends where he sees a future the most, whoever can sell him on a vision of competing for World Series championships. Obviously, the Dodgers, it looks it's a bit of an easier sell, but I think you present a very good point where, the marketability, even as a Yankee or a Met, it would be so much higher almost than in LA because you're behind Ohtani, who's going to get all the media attention. I don't know. I think it's a 3-team race.
I think I agree. Actually, I think it's going to be us, them, and you.
Yep. I think Cardinals are done. I think Red Sox are probably out. I kept hearing the Phillies.
I read reports that he's down to 2 or 3 teams. I don't know how accurate that is, obviously. I don't know which reporting is true anymore, as we read reports that Ohtani was on a flight to Toronto before the day he signed with the Dodgers. So, I don't know which reports to believe, but I read a report today that he was he's down to his final 3 teams. And so, you got to imagine it's us, it's Mets, Yankees, Dodgers. I really can't, the reason, Yankees have the historicness to them and a great town to play. Mets, it's New York. He could become a legend here. But the Mets probably could give him the most money. And then the Dodgers, now they have, Ohtani. So,
V, well, just curious, and I'm not trying to be a scutch here, but what would lead you to believe the Mets could offer him the most money?
I just truly believe Cohen, if he really wants a player and a player is willing to come to him, he'll beat out any offer out there.
Okay, so why didn't he offer Ohtani at all?
He came out in an interview and said that Ohtani's agent never reached back out to him, so that was a telltale sign.
Okay, so to me, that seems like an excuse. It just...
no, I think that's more of hey, I'm not going to give this guy all the money in the world if he's not even interested in playing in New York. If Yamamoto's interested in playing in New York, it's a different story.
I guess, but I don't know. He was interested in playing for the Yankees back when he was coming over from Japan. I know that much.
That's like if you see a girl you're interested in, and she didn't come up to you, so you're like, she's not interested. I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah.
And
then the Mets fans
engage in conversation.
Then the Mets fans on Twitter were doing this whole Uno reverse. They didn't even want Ohtani in the first place. I'm not saying you said this, V, but I saw this all over the Mets. We didn't even want him. But
no. Listen, I've been very vocal on here. I've been praying for Ohtani.
Dude, we were at the Yankees-Angels game this past season. The Yankees-Angels game, and V was chanting from the stands, Ohtani is coming to the Mets. Next to this little kid in an Ohtani jersey, crushing his hopes and dreams. So yeah, he's been very vocal.
So I'm not one of those fans, Jack. I wanted him, but listen, it's a $700 million contract. All in all, as on a business standpoint, Ohtani probably gets them their money back. But if you want to use $700 million over the next 10 years to get a Yamamoto and another big time slugger, I think that makes sense just the same as well.
Well, we talked about Ohtani going to the Dodgers. Can I get your guys' reaction on that contract, how it was done with the Dodgers? And specifically, I want to pose the question. We talk about Yamamoto, Juan Soto possibly extending. Does that kind of open the doors for teams to get a little more creative with how they break down and, navigate contract extensions?
I'm going to start on this one, V. I'm going to say yes and no. First, reaction to the contract. I would say I think it should not be allowed. I know it's happened in the past, obviously, and certain teams at the end of contracts always defer the money to the end so that it doesn't kill their cap. And obviously, we know about Bobby Bonilla Day, V.
He's
But
not even the worst one now.
oh, not even close. But I find it very hard to understand a world where the best player in baseball can be on the books for $2 million for 10 years, And, the market value would tell you he's worth $70 million a year, but that's not what it counts against the cap. And then the Dodgers won't have to pay luxury tax at $70 million. I think what's the number that his actual cap hit? It's not two.
400. Are you talking about like the overall number?
No, per year cap hit. I think it's in like the 30s.
46.
Yeah. So, I don't understand how this is allowed. I know it's in the rules, and I'm not saying they pulled like an illegal move or anything like that. I just don't understand how it's allowed. Now, will this happen in the future? I really doubt it. I think only a few players can pull something like this off. First, you have to have an agent that's willing to not get paid right away. So they either would need a bunch of other clients, or they would need to be doing a lot of other deals. And I think the way Ohtani could do this is because he's going to make probably even more, if not slightly less, in endorsements, right? That's how he's able to do it, right? I mean, the guy's going to
100%.
make so much money in endorsements that it's going to be laughable. And, he's not going to need $70 million a year, obviously. Who the hell does need that much money in a year? But he'll be fine, I'm sure. So I think there's only maybe one or two players. I think it's Ohtani and maybe I don't even know. I don't know if there's even another player in the game that could get a contract like this, just because I don't know who's going to want to wait that long to get their money and which agent's going to be okay with it. I think it's a big ask.
Yeah, I could see it happening, but not to this extreme. I could see it being deferred, maybe 10 million of a contract. Let's say like a really good player gets a $30 million a year, maybe 10 of it gets deferred and they only pay 20 at first, whatever. But for 10 years, that's extreme. For 68 million a year for 10 years is extreme. Yeah. But quick reaction is, holy shit, that's 10 years, $700 million contract for Shohei Ohtani, the biggest contract in North American sports history. That's like absurd. It's a lot of money. I didn't think the number was going to get that high. I thought it was going to hit 6. I thought 10 for 6, maybe 10 for 550. I was kind of in that range. 700's insane, but I saw a lot of number nerds in Twitter breaking down the contract for me, and I was trying to understand it, but I'm horrible at math, so it wasn't really making sense to me. But something about along the line, the money's not in. It's interest free, so it's $68 million in today's monies in 10 years won't be $68 million in baseball inflation rate. So they're saying like it's going to actually save the Dodgers money, but Ohtani still gets a lot of money, so it doesn't even matter. I don't know. I don't care. It's a lot of money. It's a crazy amount of money. The contract, the way it broke down is kind of crazy. I mean, $2 million a year for Ohtani for 10 years and $68 million a year after he, retires, I'm assuming. I mean, like, that's crazy. I know it allows the Dodgers, it helps him. It allows him to allow the Dodgers to build around him for the next 10 years and all this and that. But, like, How is that allowed, Jack? Like you said,
Right.
it's crazy. I don't get it.
So the way I was explaining this to a friend was, in the NBA, obviously there's a salary cap, but one of the detriments to signing these stars is they take up significant amounts of your cap, right? Obviously, there's no cap in baseball, but there is luxury tax. So the good players, if you put a bunch of them on your roster, then you can only spend a little bit left of the pie, and it's a very similar thing in baseball. But instead of a cap, there's a tax, and the tax and decentivizes you from keeping those big contracts on your roster. So that's why the Dodgers had to make decisions these last couple of years. Think about it. They passed on Corey Seager. They let Trey Turner walk. They let Scherzer walk. They made a lot of these decisions to let guys walk to plan for this offseason to stay under the luxury tax. And somehow they get to remain under the luxury tax. I don't know how. I'm sure it'll come up in the next CBA. I'm positive it's going to come up, and it's going to be a big. There's going to be limits to the amount of money you can defer, because I don't. I think I've kind of said what needs to be said on it. I just don't know how that's good for a balanced league where you want every team to compete, right? That's what you really want. You want 30 teams to be competing for a championship. And is that what we get? Obviously not. You have some shit teams and teams that just refuse to spend money. It's unfortunate, but it's the reality. I don't know. It sucks for them.
No, I completely agree. This puts the bigger market teams. If this is this is allowed, it puts the bigger market teams at even more big of an advantage compared to the smaller market teams. Now, always the counter argument is, all right, let those millionaire owners of the small market teams do the same thing. It's kind of hard to do that, but it's interesting. I don't know if we'll ever see something like this again, because he is a player that we may never see again. It's interesting. It's a one of a kind player and with a one of a kind contract.
Do you guys think that maybe not? Do you think that they should? Well, do you think that they should? But what do you think it would look like if baseball had a salary cap?
I think it would be very beneficial for the game, not only a salary cap, but a salary floor, which would force teams to spend a minimum amount of money. And I think that's just great for the sport overall. I think it'd keep a lot of guys in the game longer. Less guys would get run out because they have a few bad years, and some of the bottom guys would get a little bit more money. I think that would be good. I think, it's worked well in the NBA. Am I for like a whole max contract like they have in the NBA? I don't think that's a great system. But as far as a cap and a floor, the floor being the main thing, I think that can only increase competition. That's how I see it.
Yeah. I don't ever think that'll happen though, because teams like the Mets, Yankees, Dodgers, Padres have been paying for teams like the Athletics, the Royals, the Pirates. So think about it. The Pirates, Royals, Athletics, I can't even think of another whoops.
Guardians.
They're getting money for not spending money. Put that in perspective. That's insane. Why would they ever make the other teams, you can only spend this much? Shit, that means I got to spend this much? And I don't get their money now? Oh, no, we're not doing that. It'll never happen. I would be okay with the salary cap if there was a salary floor. I completely agree with you. But because I don't think there'll ever be a salary floor, I don't ever want to see a salary cap.
Yeah. I mean, it works so well in sports like the NBA because it's like, if we could get stars, right? If we could get, I know, like, we'll use the Nets for an example. If we can get Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving on our team, and the Nets become the next Golden State Warriors, and we're the next global brand, we'll make the money back tenfold. It's worth to spend the money. And I think I saw the stat the other day. I think the most profitable team in MLB history was whenever the Astros lost like 100 and when they I don't know. I think Altuve's like rookie year, maybe like 2013, when they lost all those games because their payroll was nothing. Astros have a loyal fan base. They still came out to the ballpark and spent money on merchandise and everything like that. So, it's crazy. That was the most profitable team in MLB history. 100 and whatever lost team.
Yeah, that's insane.
I agree with you guys. I mean, I don't think you can just all of a sudden enact a salary cap. But why are you guys so hard set, probably even more hard set on a salary floor? Like, what's the incentive for teams to not put a good product on the field?
It's because...
yeah. Sorry, no, go ahead.
It's because literally what V just said. It's like, if they don't, like, baseball is collectively bargained, so all the money is split up and divided evenly, right? So the Yankees, they spend $250 million, and the Mets, they spend $300 million on salary for the season. The Orioles spend $20 million. The A's spend $15 million. Well, you know what? The pies are still evenly distributed to every team. It's not like the Yankees are getting more money from the TV deals, or maybe they do with Yes, but as far as the league giving back money, it's all even. So certain markets, when the money isn't flowing, like what we've seen out of Kansas City recently, Cleveland, the Rockies, I mean, they've been disastrous. They don't want to spend money. They turn into AAA teams, feeding grounds into these bigger markets. Like, I mean, it's just so crazy. The Rockies, for an example, trading Arenado, right? It doesn't really make any sense to do that. Then you go out and give Chris Bryant this outrageous deal because he's an MVP, and they think they could sell jerseys like that. It's like, I don't know, stuff like that. It just doesn't really make much sense, and you question like the people in charge. But yeah, that's really what happens. It's like, yeah, you still make money if your team does bad. That's the reality of it, but it's unfortunate.
Yeah, no, it's annoying watching teams like the Athletics and Royals and all these. They just they don't want to spend money because, like Jack said, they're gonna make money from not spending money, for having a bad team, for all this stuff. So it's like, I could put a decent to semi okay product, make my few million, and call it a day. They run as a business. They don't run as a fan, as a baseball fan, which is fine. Baseball is a business sport, but at the end of the day, the fans for those teams are hurting.
Yeah, very interesting. Talking hypotheticals, I'm with you guys. I don't think it'll ever happen, but it is fun to talk about. Why not? Hey, fellas, you guys on X? Twitter?
Oh, I've been on X. I'm on a Twix.
So BQB is doing something exciting. We have our BQB Twitter, but the three of us are going to become a lot more active on Twitter under our own accounts as well. So pick your favorite one of us and follow us, because we are going to get very competitive on our follower count. And it's going to be a race to 100 and then to 500. And I can't wait to win. So please follow us. I'll plug the handles because Jack still hasn't created his account, but we'll get on that. Anyway, I saw something on Twitter because I'm on X now. And I wanted to bring it up to you guys. I've heard some discussion about it. It's a tweet by Cameron Maben, and I specifically want to get your take on it first, Jack, because it has to do with the Yankees. But I'm going to read it. I'll post it on the video. But the tweet says, by Cameron Maben, "This might be an unpopular take to Yankees fans, but you'd be surprised how much more attractive the Yankees would be if they got rid of that facial hair rule. You wouldn't believe how many quality players just think it's a whack rule to have. I mean, come on, we're coming up on 2024. Let that go already. And I swear it would be more appealing. Again, this only comes from conversations I've had and experience from actually playing." Jack, what are your thoughts on the Yankees and their clean-shaven, no long hair rule?
Couple things. Just to make it clear, as V's mic is making some noises there.
What are we doing?
I'm against the rule. I think it's quite silly. And I guess you might say, there's jobs in America where you need to be, not even America, across the world, where you need to be cleanly shaven and look fresh and nice and, be professional. And I completely understand that. I just think it's silly. I think you just let people express themselves however they want. It's just my kind of opinion. It's not like a very strong one, but I do think that tweet, is not 100% accurate as far, and I mean, maybe that's the case, but as far as preventing the Yankees from signing players, I don't think it's ever come in the way, because I think, you know, the Yankees, they spend a lot of money. They're competitive with a lot of the top guys, and they have been the last really, 25, 30 years. So I don't think it's ever come in the way of them not getting Bryce Harper. I mean, I know Bryce Harper said he would have shaved to play for the Yankees. So I don't think it's that big of a deal where like guys are like don't want to come because of the whole policy, but in general, I think it's quite silly. A quite silly rule to have in today's day and age.
Yeah, I would rather see Garrett Cole with his beard, honestly. Give me the hair back, give me the beard. He looks like so much more of a badass. Now he just looks like, he's awesome. Looks a little different, looks a little odd. Jack, this is the one of the few times I'm going to completely agree with you. They need to just get rid of the rule. Just listen. I'm not saying grow like those 2013 Red Sox dirty looking red beards and all that. That's fine. How about like a nice looking beard? Like grow your hair out a little bit. What's the harm? There's no harm. And Jack, to make the point that you said about a job that you have to look good at or be professionally cleanly shaven, okay. But let's say, well, hypothetically, let's say it's a lawyer. So is one lawyer allowed to look less shaven or more, but the other can't? It's the same. Like there's one baseball player who can grow a beard and one that can't. It's the same job. Just one job telling you can't do it.
It's they To play devil's advocate, it'd be like two different companies. One company, you're an employee. It's cool if you wear a beard in my company, but Dave's company cleanly shaven. I guess that's how in that hypothetical, that's how it would go, right? Two different companies.
Yeah, exactly.
Company Red Sox, they allow it. Company Yankees, they do.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's silly. Just let them grow a beard, please.
Jack, do you think the Yankees should put names on the back of their jerseys?
I'm gonna go with no.
And why is that?
See, Dave, you're making good points. I know where you're going with this. It's because it's a tradition. Yes, I'll play along. It's because it's a tradition.
Put the names on the back too. Why not?
No.
See, now we're divided. Listen, to give my 2 cents, Jack, I partly agree with you. It's not like the biggest deal in the world. V, I think you're starting to walk in a gray area of where we can have a little, but it can't be straggly, where does that cut off? I think it's pretty much like an all or nothing type thing, right? But
yeah, I agree.
What I will say is it's the Yankees tradition. It's the Yankees culture. It's part of what it means to be a Yankee. And as far as I know, they're the only team in all of the major sports to have this type of rule. And again, I talked about it before. When you bring in a rental like Juan Soto, a big name player on a 1-year deal, it's getting him into the culture. And players are either going to buy in to what it means to be a Yankee or they're not, right? And I don't agree with Cameron Maben, and I do agree with you, Jack. The fact that they're telling people to shave their beards, isn't the reason that they haven't won a World Series since 2009, right?
Right.
But when you put on the pinstripe jersey, when Juan Soto puts on that hat, he's feeling that feeling of what it means to be a Yankee. That's why he's not complaining his name isn't on the back of the jersey. He's not complaining he has to wake up every morning and shave. Jack, I know you said you weren't passionate about it. Personally, I am passionate about it. I also, I agree, like, let people express themselves, whatever. There's other ways to do that. But, if my employer told me to shave every day, even though I'm genetically limited in my ability to grow a beard, and maybe this is just a personal bias coming out.
Oh,
But
see, now the truth comes out.
V, if I could put on a Yankees pinstripes every day and play with a team that has a history like that, I don't know. I think the Yankees are the one team that can get away with it too because of their
Well,
phenomenal history.
I'll tell you this: if the Yankees call me up tomorrow and said you're playing right field tomorrow, I'm shaving my fucking beard. So it's not a
Exactly.
problem. It's not a problem in terms of recruiting a player on that end. I agree with you. I don't think that's true. But I also would be like, hey, why can't I just keep it? Just
Yeah.
let me have it.
Right.
You know what they could do? You know what they could do? You know when you go and walk into a barber shop and they got like, you could pick hair A, B, C, and D. The Yankees could just pick like 5 or 6 beards and you could pick that one to rock.
What do you think this is like? My player is
My
clipping
player.
beards, bro. Oh my god.
We could find the compromise.
I agree with Dave on his point where it's to me it's an all or nothing issue. I don't know. To me, if you're worried that much about beard lengths, you've lost the plot completely.
Yeah.
And the one point I would make, kind of a counterpoint, is like, yeah, we're not allowed to like wear, not we, but the Yankees are not allowed to have facial hair. But then you have like Aaron Boone, just not really seeming to care when like John Carlos Stanton cannot run around the bases and like people are jogging and it's not like no one's being called out. That's what bothers me. It's like,
Well,
okay, yeah, we have to shave our facial. It just seems like a fake tough guy type of thing, where it's like we have guys jogging. I'm not saying it's going to continue, but in the past, there's been rough times last year. Obviously, it hits a little bit close to home. Like Stanton just not being able to run. There was a couple bad errors by Glaber, bad base running mistakes, Rizzo getting picked off. It's like, that's the time to like put down the iron fist a little bit, right? If you want to be that like Yankees way, I feel like that would be the time, not like facial hair. But I'm a traditional guy as well, so I can get behind what Dave's saying.
Jack, and that's to talk about your point. I feel like that's the frustration with Boone right there. We all know he's not setting the lineups. He's kind of a puppet master, whatever, blah blah blah. He's also the face of that culture. It starts with him, right?
Right.
And you can't. I 100% agree with you, but I don't think like what would you? All right, so we have no beards. We have V doing that. V, but just put your hands up here for a minute. All right, so we have no beards.
I was swinging the pen around. Sorry.
We have no beards, tough guy mantra versus Aaron Boone, and fundamental mistakes. If you had to change one, what would you rather change, right?
Yeah.
Live up to that tough guy mantra. So I think that's the Yankee fan frustration with Aaron Boone, because he's not developing that culture, and that's my one worry when it comes to Soto being a rental.
Can I tell you one thing that I'm really, frustrated about? Can the Mets stop letting their players play in other things besides Major League Baseball? I mean, Ronnie Mauricio tears his ACL in Dominican Winter Ball. What are we doing, guys? Just tell him no. Tell him you're gonna play with us next season. He's out for the year. I'm getting deja vu again. Now listen, I'm not comparing Ronnie Mauricio to Edwin Diaz. Diaz is much bigger of a loss. But this guy had an easy chance to start at third for us, or second, or somewhere. What are we doing?
The delay in the development too. I mean, getting an injury that young, not ideal. Tough.
No. Yeah, he's only 22. He's got so many years to play after this, but in a year where they're saying third base is going to be open for, open for a competition between Beatty, Vientos, Mauricio, I honestly wanted Mauricio out of all of them to start. I felt like he has the most, highest ceiling, maybe lowest floor type of player, because he strikes out a lot. But he hit a ball at 117 miles an hour last year, one of the hardest hit balls of the season. From a 21-year-old guy. It stinks. But yeah, I'm tired of this winter ball and WBC Mets getting injured. It's tough.
V, I'm sorry for your injury. Ronnie Mauricio, get well soon. You never want to see guys get hurt. Super unfortunate. I saw before that, like, he had not made an error in like 7 straight games. I know he's really working on his defense. That was like a, right, that was like a big,
Yeah, and he was tearing the cover off the ball.
yeah.
It's a shame. He had like a game tying grand slam the night before with like a sick bat spike or something. Like he's an electric type player. It's a shame. So I'm gonna pose this question to you, Jack. I know I texted you a little earlier about it.
Before that, V,
Get rid
just
of the
like
pen.
give me one of these.
Just get rid of the pen. You don't need to write anything.
So
All right,
before
now
I
we
keep
can hear.
going, guys. All right, so what I'm thinking is, so Jack, I was talking to you earlier, and I texted you about Justin Turner, and I want, I've seen some reports that the Mets are interested. Stearns liked Justin Turner a lot. He tried to get him on the Brewers a couple of years back. What do you think about Justin Turner coming to the Mets?
I said this to you over text, V, and I said, does David Stearns know that he's not the GM for the Brewers anymore? I mean, by the guys he's targeting, you would think he's still the GM of a small market club, but I think I'm just joking around, obviously. I think these are some solid guys the Mets have, been interested in. I think Turner's a great player. He had one of the best, what was he, 38 last year? I think he's turned 39, but I think statistically, like one of the best age 38 seasons in like all of baseball history, like absolutely demolished the ball last year, very under the radar too.
Yeah.
But I do worry that a lot of those power numbers, like a big result of Fenway Park, you know what I'm saying? Just because of the monster and his swing, just I don't know. He's just a professional hitter, though. He was a Met at one point. I'm sure, a little bit familiar with the organization, even though it's completely different. But I don't know. I don't hate it, V.
I listen. The Mets don't have a DH right now, and I would not mind bringing Justin Turner and telling him, "Hey, you're going to play some third base. You're going to DH for us." Listen, if Brett Beatty comes out next year and batting 300, great. That's being a very good player, then Turner's your full-time DH. But if Beatty, Vientos, they're struggling, they're not doing well, put Turner at third. I mean, like it is, and I think you could get him on a 1-year, $15 million deal. Maybe he wants two for $22 million or something. I'd give it maybe one plus a team option, something or player option.
Yeah.
I would do it. I would. I mean, he had 800 OPS, hit 20 something home runs, drove in 90 RBIs, batted around 300. Guy's a professional hitter, like you said. I'd really like it for the Mets. And it comes full circle. He came out I think he started as an Oriole actually, went to the Mets, and went to the Dodgers to become an all-star. But it would be pretty cool to see him back in the New York Mets uniform.
Yeah. You know what, V? Going back to 2 off season, or was it last off season? Scherzer, Verlander. Yes, you kept both of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just have the Mets like lost a bit of their like aura, their luster. Like I was actually afraid of Steve Cohen as a Yankee fan. Like, oh my god, this guy's gonna get every free agent. And I know like it's Stearns now and he's running the show, but it's like we're talking about Justin Turner, like Michael A. Taylor, Trace Thompson, Joey Wendell. Like, what are we doing here, V? Like, and I get the whole Yamamoto thing. Obviously, like I'm half joking, but like JD Martinez, like we can't make a play on him. We can't make a play. Like, are you like and how much does Pete Alonso's pending extension have to do with this? Because then we can get really into the weeds of like who are we prioritizing here? Because obviously Yamamoto seems to be priority one, but are they going to end up having to trade Pete Alonso? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I certainly hope not. I don't think so. Stearns already has said that he thinks Alonso is the first baseman going into 2024. I honestly believe an Alonso extension talk will happen this offseason, whether it's pushed aside right away or not, I don't know, but that won't happen until like February. Right before spring training. Once the off season's done, once they make their moves, whatever they decide to do, whether they blow it or they do well this off season, I'm not sure yet. I think that's like the last thing you try to do this off season. And if you can't get it done, listen, after the 2022 season, Nimmo and Diaz were free agents. They re-signed both of them, and Nimmo was a Boris client. I think Alonso loves New York. I truly believe he's going to stay a Met. It's just a matter of how much they're going to give him. And I have to hope that an Alonso extension is not handcuffing them from making a move for 2 years of JD Martinez. It's not like you're signing, X player to an 8-year, $28 million a year. They're not doing that this offseason. At least I don't see it as far as a position player goes. So I don't see how that would handcuff them. Yamamoto is definitely priority one. I saw some reports that they will pivot to the Snell, Montgomery market if they don't get Yamamoto. I don't really want any part of Snell.
So this was my follow-up question to that. You said, if it's a disaster, what would quantify a disaster for you? Obviously, missing out on Yamamoto, but let's say you land in Montgomery and that's it, or, Montgomery and, I don't know, one of the lower level...
Michael A. Taylor, and then another starter.
Would that be disaster?
It could be. It could be good enough to get the Mets in a wild card hunt. It's not good enough. I don't know really what dictates disaster, because I imagine if Montgomery, Senga, and Quintana each pitch 31 games.
I'm saying to you, though, to you as a fan, right? Like, what would be a failure of an offseason? Let's say you miss out on Yamamoto. Is it a failure right there, or would you still be interested if...
I won't consider it a failure, because they'll still have the avenue of making a trade for a Corbin Burns or a Dylan Cease type of player. And
so you want 2 B-plus level at least starters. Would you say that?
I want a B+, 1 B+ or more, and I'll take a 1 B, because I consider Senga a B+. So
okay.
Me personally, I think Senga second half, where he says like he got used to the ball and all this stuff, I think that can translate through a full season much more than people realize. So I really do think Senga's a great 2 starter. And you got Quintana, who I know he was hurt beginning of last year, but when he came back, he pitched very well. And he's pitched well the past couple years. So you got to imagine he's a solid, maybe not really a solid 3, but he's a good enough 3. Maybe Sevy bounces back. So you really need you need a 4th or a 3rd in there. I would hate to say Marcus Stroman, but he would make type of sense. Something like that.
To me, if I'm a Mets fan and I lose out to Yamamoto, to the Yankees for Yamamoto, I think that's a disaster. I think it's a disaster.
Will I be upset and pissed? Yeah, I will be.
You can't go back to being perceived as the Yankees' little brother of New York.
You can't.
And I feel like Yamamoto would do that.
And especially after all the Cohen quotes about how he's going to spend the money and bring a World Series there in 4 years, and I think it's been over 4 years, and it's like...
Checks his watch.
This is where, and somehow this cockiness, this confidence has rubbed off on these Mets fans who think like any player who's available will be a Met. For some reason, like, where does it come from? They just know now their owner is rich, and I guess they're so jaded and scarred from the Wilpons that it's like they have this, hubris to. I don't even know, but listen, I think we got to reel it in a little bit, V.
Listen. I don't think the Yankees relax. I don't think the Yankees. I'm sorry, you're not the Yankees. I don't think the Mets.
We're in his head. We're in his head.
Now I'm like flustered here. You know what I'm saying? Listen, Jack, you know me personally. I'm a little crazy, but I think I'm a pretty realistic Mets fan for the most part.
Yeah, but you also thought you were the mystery team on Ohtani. I mean, like they didn't even get a meeting.
Well, I was off on that one. Okay, just one time. You know, one time I'm off. You know, take it easy. You know, I'm off here and there, but you know, the Giants report about Ohtani was kind of interesting. We'll get into that in a second. I don't know. Listen, if the Mets miss out on Yamamoto, I would be hard pressed to say this offseason will be a success. I'll answer that.
Okay, fair enough, V.
They have to do some blockbuster type stuff for me to be like, okay, they recovered. Yeah, it wasn't Yamamoto, but they did something really a great plan B. That'd be hard to do, but they could.
And I think the only reason you could be okay with Yamamoto going somewhere else, if you're a Mets fan, is if you know and the offer leaks that Cohen offered the most money by a significant margin, and he just chose to go somewhere else. That to me, I'd be okay with it. You know what? It just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah,
We
he
had
want
it
to
down here.
Yeah.
You know, he wanted the Yankees whacked him with whatever, Dodgers, Ohtani, whatever. It's fine. Water under the bridge. If Cohen doesn't offer, or Stearns, whoever's making calling the shots, doesn't offer the most money, and you lose out because of the money, I think the Cohen mantra is over. It is over. Over.
Fair enough. I'd be hard pressed if he doesn't give him the 1 or 2 deal. In my opinion.
It needs to be number 1.
Okay. I'll be hard pressed if it won't be number 1.
All right, fellas. Hey, we got a couple minutes left. I've been meaning to ask you guys this question because I have a feeling I know which way each of you will go on it, and you know I love pinning you two against each other. So, V, I'm going to start with you, and it's a pretty simple question. I'm going to bring you back to relive some of your early childhood memories as a Mets fan. David Wright, yes or no, and why? Should he be a Hall of Famer?
He should be. He should be a Hall of Famer. I think he may not get the love he deserves from the writers, but I think he should be a Hall of Famer.
V, I think I'm going to have to unfortunately disagree with you on this one. You know, David Wright, he basically had, a 10-year or so career. And he was great for those, 8, 9 years. And then at the end, he really fell off with the back injuries. And I think, if this was any other sport, I'd say it's a slam dunk because top really 5 position player in baseball for, 5 to 7 years. He was really a great player. 2 Gold Gloves, 7-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger. It's just the counting stats are not there for the Baseball Hall of Fame. I think we're talking Football Hall of Fame, he's there. We're talking Basketball Hall of Fame, as long as you're, top 5 position player in basketball, usually for an extended stretch, you go in the Hall of Fame. It's just he doesn't have the MVP. He doesn't have the World Series or multiple World Series or the World Series MVP that can kind of catapult him where some of the numbers are lacking. But to me, it just does not have the counting stats. But you know what? I'm a huge David Wright fan. One of my favorite Mets. Can't believe I'm saying that, but he was a great player. There's no denying.
No. Listen, Jack, the only reason why I'm making the argument here is because if you look at his numbers from 2004 to 2014, because he got the spinal stenosis in 2015. So you're talking about 10 years. And 2004, he only played, that's his first year he got called up, played 70 games pretty much. So he really played 05 to 14. So you're looking at 10 years. And in my opinion, he's, a top 5 position player with these numbers. I mean, just year in, year out is, without a doubt, the best player. And by the way, got robbed of an MVP in 2007. Absolutely robbed. Should have won it. He had the highest WAR that year. Without a doubt, he should have won it. But I think he gets in And I would like to see him get in because he may not have 2,000 hits. He may not have 300 home runs. And I get all that stuff. And that's probably what's going to end up hurting his case. But matter of fact is, because you look at his numbers from 15, 16, and 18, he was dealing with a spinal injury. He tried to play, and you got to give him the credit that he tried, at least. And that's clearly what derailed his career. So I'm hoping for the fact that the writers could look at, hey, this guy was a Hall of Famer for the first 10 years of his career. The only reason why he isn't is because of something that he had no control over. So hopefully he'll get some votes. Hopefully he stays on the ballot, and I hope he can get in.
I feel like a decade of excellence is not something to dismiss, right? And that's why we can all sit here and say he was a great player. I guess, Jack, what would you say? Like, what did David career? I know you talked about the World Series, maybe some deep playoff runs with the Mets. Maybe an MVP would have been great. But like, just statistically speaking, what would you say he needed to do in order to catapult him into a Hall of Fame career?
Yeah, it's the main numbers, your classic numbers. You really need 2,000 hits at least now, and then 300 home runs would probably do it. And he's 242, 1777 hits. I mean, he's right there. But yeah, and those are some of the counting stats you get from just sticking around in the MLB, just continuing your career, not even being an excellent player anymore, which is kind of unfortunate, right? Because they some of those counting stats, you have guys kind of hold it on, and because they're able to stay healthy, they just accumulate the stats over time, right? I mean, Adrian Beltre definitely had some great years, and he made the Hall of Fame. But towards the end, he wasn't an outstanding player anymore. Obviously, I mean, he was pretty old, and he got his hits, he got his counting stats. He had 3,000 hits, and I think 400 home runs or 400 home runs. So
yeah.
He got in quite easily. It almost took that, right? You need a 10-year prime, or at least a 7-year prime, and then you just got to hold on. At least that is what has been the case for the past, right? That's been like the precedent that's been set. So, would I be willing to change that over time to get certain guys in that I think are great players? Absolutely, but just going on who's made the Hall of Fame in the past, to me, it's tough to put David Wright in.
I hope you're wrong. That's all I'm going to say.
I hope so too, V.
I was just going to say, Jack, is that something where like you would be not mad, but like, would you be like, oh, that's not Hall of Fame? Like if David Wright got inducted.
Well, yeah, I would, because there's guys like Bernie Williams isn't in the Hall of Fame. He won a bunch of World Series. He's probably up there close with the hits and home runs, honestly, but Bernie had a long career. Some other guys, like, I don't understand how David Ortiz makes the Hall of Fame, and then, A-Rod can't make the Hall of Fame, or Manny Ramirez can't make the Hall of Fame. All guys that have been linked to steroids in their careers. I don't get it. It's a whole media thing, really. The writers are, especially in baseball, they're very like prestigious, and they like clean cut guys. They don't like guys that are too, ruffle the feathers too much.
They like the Yankees.
So. Yeah, it's tough. And Posada, another guy that he's probably close up there, especially as a catcher, a switch hitter with the home runs. I don't know about the hits, but he had a long career. And he'd probably be another guy that I'd be like, if Wright got in, really, like Jorge couldn't get in, but yeah.
No, we'll see. It'll be. Do you think he lasts longer than 1 year on the ballot?
I don't know. It's just, why I think these writers, and some of them are just horrible. I mean, have you seen some of the ballots? I mean, some people just vote for no one. I wouldn't be surprised if he's just there for after 1 year, because I think they literally just look at the stats and they're like, yeah, well, he's not even close, and like they really bother me. I mean,
I can't believe I one time saw a Hall of Fame ballot where a writer didn't vote anybody.
Yeah, I mean, how do you do that? I think, honestly, V, I think I would vote for him, but then I would also vote for guys like A-Rod and guys like Like, I probably would vote for David Wright. I think I would.
I would vote for A-Rod. I would have voted for Barry Bonds. I would have voted for...
But I probably would have voted for Bernie Williams and Jorge to get in as well. But, I don't want to, like, go ahead.
No, finish your point.
I was just going to say the NBA kind of lets everyone in. That's kind of their thing where, like, the Basketball Hall of Fame has all these guys. It's like, was he really a Hall of Famer? Like, it's tough. I wouldn't want it to turn into that. But I think any baseball player that was great or had, like, a lot of postseason success and contributed to multiple championship teams, to me, I think they're a Hall of Famer.
Jack, do you think the Yankees should retire A-Rod's jersey?
I don't know. It's very complicated. He did try to sue the team, so I don't know.
Statistic and like accomplishment wise, do you think they should retire his jersey?
Oh yeah. But I mean, what he did to them at the end, like I think he tried to blame like Donahue or the doctor. He tried to sue the team. It really ended poorly.
Yeah.
But like, that was towards the end, and then he decided not to join another team, which I thought was a very classy move by him. He could have chased the 700 home runs, which he never decided to do. And if you hear him talk today, he's very appreciative that he retired as a Yankee, but it seems like him and Cashman don't get along at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Would you have chased 700?
If I was A-Rod or just like in general?
No, if you're Jack B in the MLB hitting 700 bombs, would you go for it?
And you're on the Yankees, and the Yankees are telling you, hey, you're going to get released. You can go tag along.
Just retire.
You're 40 years old. You got another team telling you, hey, you want to come chase 700 with us, you can. Or you retire, Yankee.
I don't know, man. I think he did the right thing. In his circumstances, I think he did the right thing. But,
I chase.
You really think that further tarnished, like that, if he went to a new team or didn't retire as a Yankee, that would have further tarnished his reputation as a Yankee? But, like,
yes.
I think the damage was already done.
I don't see
it was, but it's I don't know. I just remember that time so vividly where it was like one thing after another. He was just such a distraction to the team. I remember him going on Francesa, and with the briefcase, he just got out of the hearing with, I think he was hearing Congress, something bizarre. And Francesa's like, grilling him like, have you ever taken steroids? No. Have you ever done this? No. Have you ever done performance-enhancing drugs? No. Have you ever done HGH? No. It's just like screaming. And this is after like he admitted it already, basically. He's just going on Francesa and saying it was a disaster. Such a distraction. It was such a bad time for the Yankees, too. And then he tried to sue them. I mean, it's just so bad. I think if he went to another team, I don't know. I think that just would have really sucked in a lot of Yankee fans' eyes. And I think the reason why he's so positively received by a lot of Yankee fans when they look back on his career is because he retired a Yankee.
I would chase 700.
Me too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I would too, but, I don't think I would sue the team and probably wouldn't take PEDs and probably wouldn't,
Okay, listen, all that considered, he's got to know he's not going to the Hall of Fame. He's got to know he's not making it.
But I think he kind of got to a point where it was like, I've been an Alex. His world revolved around him his whole life. And I think he finally got to the point where it's like, let's do something that's like for the greater good and not just about Alex. Like, if you ever listen to him, especially talk about his career, his world was himself. He was so in love with himself. So in love with like the idea of being a superstar and dating J-Lo and being cool, and it's just how he definitely came across that way. He's a very insecure guy, it seemed.
Maybe, but the only way I view it is you got to know you're not going to the Hall of Fame. You got to know. Maybe I guess the only thing he could have looked at is like, okay, maybe I could get my number retired as a Yankee. Maybe I can make the Yankees Hall of Fame. Maybe I could. But how many people are in the 700 home run club? Put your name. I know, listen, it's only, what was it? He was off by 4. Okay, so I get it. But you're not in the 700 home run club. And how many people are going to make it there? How do you not do it? How do you not do it? For me, it was unbelievable that he didn't go for it.
Well, I think if he just didn't sue the Yankees, he would have ended up playing in a bunch more games. It's like he did it to himself. He took steroids twice. Like, it's tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, after a while, it's like, come on, dude. What are we
No, I
doing?
get it. Listen, I'm not going to defend his choices. I'm just saying, I don't know how you, I get why he didn't. I just don't understand it.
Well, listen, fellas, I think we could have an hour-long podcast just on the drama that came with A-Rod. But Jack and even V, growing up with him, he was fun to watch. Like it was A-Rod. So, especially those times against the Red Sox, and it's great. Anyway, listen, fellas, I'd put you guys in the Hall of Fame of podcasters, that's for sure, because this was a great episode. Let's wrap this bad boy up. Everyone's got to follow us on the socials. V, you've been killing the socials lately. I mean,
certainly,
Jack, have you seen the Yankees content he's been putting out there?
Yeah, I know. It's been excellent.
Yeah, we became a Mets page last season, but I think Juan Soto turned me into.
Mets are irrelevant right now. They can't even sign a free agent.
Listen,
it's getting grim.
I'm a businessman on the side. I'm a Mets fan, business. And right now, the business is telling me to post some Yankees content, so I got to do what the business needs
Yankees
me
are
to do.
good for business, Dave.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
he's a smart man. V, tell them where they can find us on these socials where you're doing all your hard Yankees work.
At BQB Podcast. Instagram? Where else?
We're on TikTok.
TikTok, X.
YouTube Shorts.
YouTube Shorts.
Facebook. Dude, we're about to crack 1,500 followers on Facebook.
Get out of here.
I'm serious.
We are a big deal. And listen, you can listen to our episodes too, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Google. So please do. And listen, if you like us, go tell a Hall of Famer. Tell them to listen to our podcast. This is like us too. All right. As always, gentlemen, it was a pleasure. Look forward to keep on living this off season through with you guys, keeping everyone up to date. So until next time, we'll catch you.
See you guys next week.
Ding.